Now, the Nigerian Archery Federation (NAF) has called for the inclusion of archery in national and state-based games to create awareness of the sport among members of the public, as well as promote public interest in the game. The NAF Secretary General Olatunji Boluji says, although the sport is integral to ancient African societies, not many people know about the game as a contemporary sport and not aware of the sport as an internationally thriving game. On his part, Emmanuel Oyeleke, a member of the team Nigeria, they just concluded 13th African Archery Championship, says a lot more attention needs to be given to the game. Now joining me from Lagos is Emmanuel Oyeleke, who competed at the African Archery Championship and won a silver and 2 bronze medals. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. Well, we look at the game archery. Archery is a game that still needs a lot of recognition in Nigeria. I think a lot of Nigerians dwell on athletics, football, basketball and all. But what would you say needs to be done to ensure the inclusivity and promotion of the game?
Thank you very much, AB. It's so nice to be on your program today. Thank you so much for having me once again. Back to your question, what should be done to ensure the inclusivity of archery as a sport? I think archery as a sport is largely regulated due to the nature of the sport. You use a bow to propel an arrow towards a target, and this in itself is very, very, very regulated. So, in essence, we need to ensure people have access to the game, which is what we're trying to do even as private individuals now, where we're springing up clubs already in different states. We have clubs in Abuja, we have Edo State, we have Ogun State. I have my club in Lagos, situated in Ilupeju, which is Zen Archery Club. And we also have clubs in Lekki, we have all over Nigeria. So, giving people access to the game is one of the things we can do to ensure inclusivity in the game. And another thing we can do to ensure inclusivity in the game is also showcasing the game on a spectacular level, which is something that we're doing coming next month at Zen Archery Lagos Open Championship. We're trying to gather people together, lovers of the game, archers from all over Nigeria, to assemble in Lagos for a competition, a tournament, to bring people together, the camaraderie, the skill exchange. It's very important and integral to development of the game.
Still on the development of the game, so many know that when it comes to games like football, basketball, you go to secondary schools, you go to primary schools, you see football pitches, you see basketball courts and all of that. And archery is not really a sport that needs to even take a lot of space or needs a lot of expensive equipment for you to practice. Now, do you think that the inclusion of archery, games like archery into school curriculum could help increase the interest of the game to not just the public, but to children in schools?
Absolutely. Thank you for that question again. It takes me back to looking at the Korean national team. The Korean female team has not been beaten at the Olympics since 1984. So meaning that the Korean female national team has won every Olympic medal in the recurve category at the Olympics since 1984. This is largely due to the fact that archery is a school sport even in Korea, and we can do the same here in Nigeria. We see a lot of other countries that are adopting the same models. Vis-a-vis, we have India. In the past 5 years, India has become a world power in archery as a whole, especially in compound archery, where we have about 5 to 6 Indians in the top 10 in the world. What did they do differently? They established academies to teach archery alongside the academic endeavors of these children, and that's what we're advocating that we can do. We have a few people already doing the same. Vis-a-vis, we have people in Abuja doing the same. We have the Ogun State doing the same. We have Lekki Archers Club, which is situated within a secondary school, and we have also at the forthcoming Zen Archery Championships, we have the junior categories, which features like children or kids under the age of 16 years old competing and also even winning prize monies and medals at the forthcoming tournament. So it's important, it's imperative that we ensure that we include this. I mean, even if it's not on a wider scale, let's start small and we'll see the difference. We'll see the results.
Now, when it comes to sports, some countries use their cultural advantage to get much needed wins. For instance, you look at Kenyans, Ugandans, Ethiopians, the Maasai people, they are the kings of the long distance races. You look at swimming, look at countries that have these large water bodies, you know that they are usually the champions. And coming to Nigeria, somebody might want to ask that, for instance, swimming, you see swimming, people that are based in Ijo or people from Ijo tribe, why don't they participate in that? And now coming into archery, you might want to ask yourself, this is an African thing. There's a lot of hunters in Nigeria. There's a lot of people who partake in all these forestry and all of that. Why do you feel that with all of these Nigeria has in their arsenal, there are still few archers representing Nigeria at international tournaments? Would you say it boils down to administration or what?
Thank you very much for that question again. I think it's a mix of every single thing. Archery in the international terms is not traditional archery. It's not, I mean, the implements, the tools are a lot more modernized than we have the ones for hunting. Rightly said, we also have the modern equipments for hunting. That's hunting archery. But this is not target archery. They're two different types. When you say, should we have an advantage? I would say yes, we should have an advantage because hunting is obviously is native to man. We hunted to survive before we developed other means of gathering food and everything. But I would say there's so many reasons or factors why we don't have a lot of archers representing Nigeria. And I believe that right now, if we start developing archery in Nigeria, within the next 4 years, Nigeria will become a world power in archery. It has happened in other things. I used to play Scrabble before. We've produced a world champion as a Scrabbler. Nigeria is the #1 Scrabble playing nation in the world. So I believe that anything that Nigerians open their minds to and receive and is encouraged, we excel and we do well at it. And the same can be said for archery.
The Zen Archery Open Championship, how is it meant to improve archery in Nigeria and how consistent is that going to be? Because the consistency is very key. Now, aside just the championship, are there other trainings that could help future archers who want to partake or who want to become major competitors in archery?
Thank you very much for that question. I'm excited to answer this question because we recently just concluded talks with the Total Athletes Sportal. TAS Africa is a talent development company they are so interested in taking kids, developing their talents in different sports and placing them in scholarships so that the academics don't suffer, and also placing them with coaches, and eventually placing them in sports club and academies around the world. That's what Total Athletes Portal is about. We just concluded the arrangements for them to partner with us on this edition to not just stop the development of these juniors or these young kids at the tournaments, because we understand that with Nigeria, I mean, as a parent in Nigeria, the kids have to face their studies. It's only just recently that we have a few parents taking their children and putting them in sports academy. It's not very rampant, but this is one thing that we want to foster. This is one thing that we want to encourage vis-a-vis this tournament. So this tournament is going to develop sports, is going to develop archery as a whole in Nigeria because it's the first of its kind. It's the first of its kind. It's a big one. We're encouraging people to come to Teslim Balogun 9th and 10th of March to witness this, even if you can't partake in the sport. Just see how it is being done. Bring your children. Let them see how it is being done so that they can take interest in this. And eventually, we'll have demonstrations, we'll have a go sessions, even at the tournament, where these young kids can come and have a feel of what the bow looks like, have a feel of what shooting looks like. And eventually, they can join a club closer to them. So in all, we're sparing no expense to make sure that this comes to life, and it comes to life in a very spectacular way. We're thanking the Sports Commission in Lagos because they've also graciously supported us to make sure that this tournament is the best of its kind. We're grateful to the chairman of the Archery Association in Lagos. We're grateful to everyone that has come together to say, you know what, we have to make it spectacular, and we're looking at making it a regular thing. It's going to be a yearly thing, if not twice a year. We're hoping to host a tournament of this spectacle, of this size and magnitude, because we've seen what obtains in other countries. We've seen what obtains. We've gone to South Africa. We've gone to we shoot in the US. We've shot in Tunisia, African Championships. We know what obtains, and we can replicate and even do better here in Nigeria, and that's what we're aiming to do with this tournament.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Emmanuel Oyeleke, and thank you for joining us on Global Sports Reports.